What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Scale News Update. If you're not familiar with the show, this is where we talk about the news topics that happened in the scale world of RC over the past week. If you enjoyed the Scale News Update, hit the like button. Let's jump into this week's topics. I forgot to mention that this is the special elite version of the Scale News Update because we're going to talk about the new Axial SCX 10.3 Special Elite Edition Gladiator. It's a green Gladiator with some parts put on it. And they called this the Elite Edition because you have to be a Horizon Hobby Elite member to purchase this. They've added the Proline big bore scale shocks on it. They've taken off the stock wheels and tires, which are a 4.75 inch tall tire, and they've put on the 1.9, 4.19 inch tall Proline Hyrax tires on the Proline bead locks. They've also added the accessory pack, and it's coming in this green color, which this is the only way that you can get this green color special from Axial. This is a one of 25 being produced, but the cost is $1,099, which it does also come with a battery and charger, even though they're very basic. The electronics are stock, the radio's the original one. It comes with a couple of little special things to indicate that it is one of these one of 25 units. This wasn't overly well received though. While it's supposed to be like a limited edition custom deal, they really just kind of put some parts on there that just about anybody can get pretty easily, and they're probably along the easiest to install as well, not making this a very special edition. And it really was not received all that well on social media. Again, the price being a little high and the look of the truck just not exactly hitting the mark with these 419s and the portals and the tall shocks. If they wanted to make it special and go with the smaller tires, they should have kind of made the look feel a little bit more purposeful. But you'll have to let me know what you guys thought of the special edition. Only 25 available. So if you're interested in one of these, I don't know how long the 25 will last. If you're interested in more details, I have linked to it where you can go see all of this in the description below. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on the Elite Edition of the Gladiator. Traxxas finally released the Ultimate RC Hauler to the public. This was released last Wednesday, and this is basically the exact same as the snap-on version of the 6x6 that they had however long ago, 4 or 5 years ago at least. I remember it was the cover photo for one of the early Scale News updates, so it's been a while. I'll have to find what episode that was actually on. But I got one of these early, was able to put out a review of it for release day. This is longer than the normal TRX6, the Mercedes AMG version. It's substantially longer. It uses longer frame rails, so it's not just a simple, extension or anything like that. Carrier bearing to help support that rear drive shaft, and then that long, solid mounted rear flatbed. That's probably the biggest thing that people were disappointed in, is that the fact that that rear carrying bed, flatbed, rollback doesn't actually roll back. It's fixed mounted, which I still feel like it probably makes sense for what it would cost to make that function in any sort of usable way. But nonetheless, cool to see and really well received. Probably even more excitement around it than I would have imagined. At this point, I've only seen it available in the all black setup from Traxxas. So black chrome detail parts, black cab, blacked out windows. Rather had seen clear windows or tinted or something along those lines. If you're looking to have a hauler without having to have a trailer, this is a pretty good option. And most 10th scale-ish vehicles are going to fit on it. In the review, I did have the bed dimensions listed in there as well. So if you're looking for the details on that, I'll link to the video as well as where you can go to buy your own. And speaking of haulers, if you're one of the CEN F-450 owners, a bunch of new upgrade parts from Powershift RC just landed at AMAIN. A bunch of the kind of wild Fab Fours inspired grille and bumper combos, both front and rear bumpers, mirrors, light up. If you're looking to detail out one of your 450s, don't overlook those Powershift parts. I'll link to where you can see all of the new ones that are available down below. I want to thank Genzace again for sponsoring the Scale News Update, and this week they're doing a giveaway, which I'll give you all of the details of in a little bit. But this week they are going to be giving away one of those 4S Advanced Series batteries. Now, the 4S is the largest capacity one. It's a 10,000 milliamp battery. Now, these are specifically made to fit in the ARMAs, but other battery sizes that are, better fit for other types of vehicles and more generic, 5,000 milliamp styles are coming soon as well. And with some of the smaller sizes that go along with that, you'll also see much more economical prices on some of those. But if you're looking for just kind of the baddest option for something like your Armas, these could be it. Again, the Advanced series has got the overcharge protection. You've got the battery status indicator on there so you can tell the charge on the pack as a total, as well as individual cell health. Also, this has automatic discharging so that you don't have to go and plug it in and try and maintain your batteries on your own. This will do it for you. Definitely some cool features. If you haven't seen these, go check them out. And again, we'll talk about the giveaway that they're going to be doing on this battery later on in the video. Send Cut Send, which is the laser cutting company that you've heard me talk about on the Scale News a number of times. Well, they've recently expanded their powder coating abilities, giving you more options for colors as well as quantity discounts. You can see pricing discounts up to 70% depending on the number of identical parts that you're powder coating. And also, if you're using them for any of their cutting surfaces, I do have a 15% off discount code, which you can find in the description below. It's not a one-time use. You can use it as many times as you want. I don't get a kickback or anything like that, but save yourself 15% on any of the orders you do from there. Their pricing is already really good. Definitely a site to go check out. RC4WD Drive had some new releases this week. If you bought one of those beautiful new Iron Pig FJ55 bodies, they released some Lexan inner fenders that you can pick up for those to help hide the inside of it, at least. These are bolt on to the TF2 long wheelbase that body is meant to be bolted on to, so I imagine also that you could use these inner fenders for other projects also. So keep that in mind, just in case that FJ55 didn't quite trip your trigger. They also released a steel 1/8 scale monster truck chassis. So this is an actual tube chassis build. Price on this thing is pretty good as well. So if you want a scale style monster truck chassis, it is like over 3 pounds. So it's a heavy one. Probably not going to be the best performing option, but the penalty you pay for having a more realistically fabricated chassis like that may be worth it to some of you. And lastly, RC4WD Drive released 2 new 2.2 tires that are more scale than super aggressive performance related, which is something that you typically see with 2.2s, but kind of cool to see this. The first one is the BFG KM3, and while I think this is probably the best looking one, it is a 2.2, but it's still like 4.73 inches tall. So it's basically the size of a 1.9, but made for 2.2 wheels, which I've stretched 1.9 tires on 2.2s for a certain look. This just makes it a little bit, easier or a better looking version of that. But the Milestar Patagonia one is actually just under 5.25 inches tall on that 2.2. So not as large as many of the 2.2s that you see at 5.75 or, in that range. This 5.25, a little bit larger than most 1.9s that you see, but still got some scale style. So if you've got a build that was a little bit hard to find the right rolling stock for, that one specifically could help fill that gap. You can go check out the details on all of those releases from RC4WD Drive in the links below. This week, Reefs RC released a new micro servo. This is the 179 Smart Micro. As it comes out of the box, it's a standard micro servo, but if you use the USB programmer that you can buy separately, then you can turn this into a little winch. Now, the specs on this are 179 ounce-inches of power at 8.4 volts. It does use a micro 25 spline servo horn as well. These are being released now, so if you're shopping for some micro servos, here's another option. Next, we have a new standard size servo from ProTech. This is the 1K TBL. This is one of their black label servos. It falls in that line. Has 1,080 ounce-inches of torque at 8.4 volts. This is not a direct power servo, so it still pulls the actual amperage from your BEC, whether that's internal or external. The load that they spec on the website says that it takes 8 amps of stall power at 8.4. So you will need a beefy BEC. I'd probably recommend using an external BEC like a Castle. I got to see this in testing last week when I made a trip to AMA. It was impressive to see the stack of just dead weight they were lifting up with it. So cool to see. Yesterday, FMS released a couple of teasers on a new 124 scale that they have coming out. This is a Power Wagon cab with a small little tube bed on the back, spare tire mounted back there. Some pretty, period appropriate type wheels and tires on there, but the most the noteworthy things that they're showing is that it's got portals and a 2-speed. So it's supposed to have slow crawl ability and can do some fast as well. They're calling this the FCX24, almost in typo land there on the keyboard. Also, that Power Wagon body, from what I'm seeing, is a hard body. So I imagine that it's going to have some weight up there. It's going to have a micro servo for shifting at 2-speed at the very least as well. Probably going to be a little bit more involved or complicated. Full release information, video, things like that, I assume are coming soon. Maybe we'll see it by next week, but check back and see. For you no prep racers out there, JConcepts released a version 2 of their Firebird body, trying to improve it, make it a little bit faster, a little bit more desirable for that crowd. Looks fast, looks slick to go through the air. These were released and are immediately available. But that wasn't it for JConcepts this week. They also released some 1.9 Fling Kings. Now, we've seen a number of different sizes of the Fling King tires. I think JConcepts does this style of tire better than anyone else. And now a 1.9 size. It's perfect. I'm sure that there's a ton of people that are going to be after these new tires. They're the perfect size, 4.75 inches total height. That's just going to fit the most trucks, and they're just begging for power to be thrown in a mud hole. Sometimes JConcepts tires can be tough to get. So if you like the look of these, I'd suggest ordering as soon as possible. And lastly from JConcepts, another 1.9 tire, this one called the Hold. So at least they didn't let us down completely this week with weird names or products, but these still look pretty good. These look like a cut bogger, grooved or whatever you want to call it, bogger. 4.75 inches tall, 1.9 again. They really did a good job on these, putting the details of like the hand groover that people use in the full-size world to make the tread depth deeper on this type of tire. And it kind of sells the look with how they did this. So tire looks great overall. What's this name though? The Hold. Thank you for keeping the scale news interesting. Come join Matt and I this Wednesday for Livestream Takeover. Matt was gone last week when I had Nabil on for his interview about the WRCCA upcoming nationals, as well as his success at Scale Nationals from last year and so many other events as well. If you're looking to kill some time before this Wednesday's show, go back and watch last Wednesday's. It was a good one. Livestream Takeover happens every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Released on Monday was the second episode of this season of Flip That Truck. Again, gonna try and keep new updates of that show coming each week as I process through these cars and try and replace them as fast as I can finish them and get them shipped. I'll link to it in the description below. One of the vehicles that I showed initially is already done and sold, and I'm in the process now of trying to buy a couple more. But before we wrap up the news, let's talk about the giveaway from Gens Ace. They are going to be giving away one of those 10,000 milliamp 4S packs. Great for any of your bashers that are running 4S that can fit one of these large packs. Again, 10,000 milliamps. There's a link in the description below to go enter that giveaway. And it's going to end right before next week's Scale News Update. I bet you can't guess why. Make sure and check back next week to see if you won and maybe for a chance to win something else. But that does it for this week's news topics. For this week's questions segment, last week we talked about annoying habits that your pets may have, which there was some that I related to a lot and some that I was really happy that I didn't relate to. For this week's question, I want to talk about special editions. I want to know, what is something that you either bought and covet, and it's a special edition, or really wish that you wouldn't have missed out on? It doesn't have to be RC, it could be Hot Wheels or shoes or whatever, full-size cars. I just want to hear it. Let me know in the comments below. And also, comment that you entered the giveaway. But with that, appreciate you guys watching the Scale News Update every Tuesday. Thanks again for watching. Hit the like button if you enjoy these. Subscribe if you're not already. Hit the notification bell so you see the videos as soon as they get uploaded. As always, thanks again for watching. And we'll see you on the next one.